What's up, guys? Ronnie Coleman versus Jay Cutler. Today, 2017. Who will win a bodybuilding contest? Hands down, Jay Cutler will win. Now, I'm not saying that Jay Cutler is the best of all time. Of course, Ronnie Coleman has his 8 Mr. Olympia titles. And Ronnie Coleman versus Jay Cutler, they have put on some historical events in Mr. Olympia. Ronnie Coleman versus Jay Cutler. It was always number 1, number 2. Ronnie versus Jay, the two competitors. They were always the top 3. They were always the top 2 competing amongst each other. And everybody else pretty much fell in line behind Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. But just because Ronnie Coleman was the best during that era, especially when it comes to competing with Jay or against Jay Cutler, does that necessarily mean that he is the best now? Of course, you can't throw away and erase everything that Ronnie Coleman has done with his 8 Mr. Olympia titles. But on another note, how do you judge a bodybuilder? You judge a bodybuilder not just because of what they're going through at the moment or what they have done in the past, but bodybuilding is something that is a lifestyle. It's something that you do for the rest of your life. Is it an art? It's an art. It's a craft. And Jay Cutler, 2017, up until this moment, has a much better physique than Ronnie Coleman. And yes, I know I'm not knocking Ronnie Coleman by no means. He was raised about 45 minutes from where I live in Bastrop, Louisiana. But Ronnie Coleman has suffered a lot of injuries. And a lot of those injuries, I know that doesn't take away from what he is as a bodybuilder or anything, or what he has done in the past. But what I'm getting at is lifting heavy all the time, busting your ass with heavy ass weight. You remember what Ronnie used to say? Lightweight, baby. He used to say that all the time. But lifting heavy ass weight. And he also had another saying: everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but nobody wants to lift no heavy ass weight. And just because he was great in that era, when it came to the late 90s and the early 2000s and mid 2000s, just because he was great. But the thing is, lifting all that heavy ass weight, it has put a toll on his body, a toll on his spine, his everything else. So when it comes to who is really the greatest of all time between Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, or who was the smartest of all time, would you say Jay Cutler because he played things a little bit smarter when it came to his body, to his health, and to his fitness? Or would you say Ronnie Coleman because of his 8 Mr. Olympia titles that he has over Jay Cutler with, compared to Jay Cutler's 4? But of course, that was then, and this is now. Jay Cutler looks far better in comparison to Ronnie Coleman, and I'm not knocking Ronnie Coleman. I loved Ronnie Coleman better than I did Jay Cutler back in the day because of Ronnie Coleman living very close to my hometown. But when it comes to injuries versus Mr. Olympia comparison titles between Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman, and who looks better now, who would you say is the best or the better bodybuilder? Because that's not just something that you do in the past. That's something that you commit as a lifestyle. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, you have a good one.